It is October 20th, 2025. And so I am coming in a bit late this Monday with my reading for the week. And I'm moving things so I can actually see how I am showing up. Welcome to my apothecary. I am an herbalist with 30 years experience. I am constantly studying and updating what I know. If you go to Golden Apple Metaphysical, there are teas and that sort of thing available from me, and many other incenses and wonderful things created by my business partner, Nikki Jobin, who does the What in the Mystical Hell podcast, which is mostly about her experiences with the paranormal and magic and hunting the paranormal and magic. So, yes, today I am shuffling and chatting a bit and getting ready because last week was just a lot of work on so many levels. And if y'all want to comment on how things went last week, again, every week it's been something that's not in anybody's bingo card. So, for this week, what is the card of choice? The card for the week is, ooh, I like this card. I don't get excited about cards very often. The card for this week is the Empress. And so I need to dig up the guided meditation I created for her last year for a women's group in Kalamazoo. The Empress is not only is she about women's empowerment and domestic empowerment, she doesn't just run the domestics. At the time that the tarot was created in medieval, I think it was medieval, or was it Renaissance Italy? I need to check my history on that. When the Empress card, when women were aristocrats, they were why husband and wives were actually job descriptions rather than romantic commitments. And so to become someone's wife, if they were titled gentry, you actually had to have some actual job skills. You had to know how to organize land. You had to know how to organize people. It was basically you married into management. And when you married someone for these estates and for these titles, they were co-managers. I know that there are European people out there who really think Americans want titles. No, because most of us don't know the work that involves. So once we get them, we don't want them. But in this perspective, the Empress is also about that material union between the spiritual and the practical. So one of the problems people have when they're working money magic a lot is they will be going to like the ancient Greek gods or talking to their ancestors who are looking around, they will be looking around your home, which is like, yeah, it's kind of messy, but you made it. Look at all the stuff you have. Where just their idea of wealth was having a roof over your head, being able to get where you needed to go, being relatively healthy, having food when you wanted it. So for most of us living in modern day in the Western world and elsewhere as well, a lot of the ancestors looking around going, you have what we wanted you to have. Why are you asking for more? What's the problem here? Because they lived in commerce-based societies instead of capitalist-based societies. So they don't understand that the metaphorical money flying around that's ruling everybody's lives in the worst way possible. And the Empress card is the bridge to help them understand that. So the Empress is the one who actually understands not just, how the sheep in the field work and how much fabric you have and, you know, how much food is left over after each meal, but she's also the one who knows where the bills go and how much needs to be in coin and bills and notes. And she's the one who manages all of that. She's the one who has that information and can translate. So the Empress is the archetype that can translate our modern day living and our modern day needs to our ancestors who are looking around going, but you have everything. You got what we wanted you to have, and explaining what we have to do to keep it. And she is the one who makes it understood. So this is a wonderful, wonderful card. And yes, it can also mean pregnancy. But again, a tarot card is not a pregnancy test, and a lot of things happen with people's bodies. So never, ever use tarot for that. Maybe a guess, but if you're nervous enough to pull a tarot card, you're nervous enough to go to Planned Parenthood or Walgreens or Dollar Tree and get a pregnancy test. So, don't use tarot for that, please. But Beyond that, um, this is, I don't know what is coming or what this could mean, but it looks like good news. It may not be good news for women per se, and I know the conditions the women of the US are living in is concerning, but it looks like it may be good news on the commerce and not the capitalist side for the collective pulling itself out of financial holes. I know that since January, a lot of mutual aid societies have been growing. A lot more people are ignoring the trad wife videos that don't actually teach you anything useful and actually going for the real homesteading skills and going back to the DIY, going back to those roots. And given the financial straits people are in because of layoffs last week and because of shutdowns, this seems like a call on a practical level of evaluate your resources, evaluate your skills. How can you use those skills to build forward? How can you use those skills to build a new path for yourself that is not dependent on these monolithic structures, but is more dependent on local community, local access, and having what you need instead of feeling like you won? Because I can tell you, if you're constantly living to feel like you've won, which is what capitalism does, if it's all about the winning, eventually there's attrition and it becomes more and more brittle. But living how you want, having that independence that is flexible, that is full, that is healthy. So finding a way to shift from one to the other. And this is the opportunity and time to call in this energy. This is very much the side of Aphrodite that people don't really pay attention to. Everybody thinks about the sexy side and a little bit of the slutty side. And I am not, I am a sex positive person. So slutty is not a judgment at all. But she's also the side she had a non-binary kid. She had multiple children. She was a mother. She took care of her kids, sometimes in terrifying ways, like a lot of goddess moms do. And she knew how to manage her stuff. She had a job to do and she did it. And it was a family business and she did it. So this is much more, a lot of people would want to attribute this to Hera. It is not Hera, it is Aphrodite. And calling on that Venus Aphrodite energy at this time, this is what is called for. So I'm trying to see, it looks like I am terrible at memorizing astrological sigils, especially since long COVID. There's just like deleted parts of my brain. But like I am seeing the sigil for Mercury at her feet in this card. I don't know how well you can see this, like down here. And I'm seeing if there's anything else. But yeah, these are like all subtle Mercury symbols worked in, which I think is kind of fantastic. Because again, a lot of people don't recognize that Mercury was very parallel to Hermaphrodite, her other child, but there's a lot of non-binary and non-gender conformity in it. And there is an aspect of that to the switching to the commercial. There is an aspect of that to commerce over capitalism. There is an aspect of that to breaking out of the ideological violence that's been going on globally right now, is by breaking down those norms, we still need labels for some things. We can't have a conversation without them. But by breaking down so many of these norms that are completely unnecessary to existing, by going, yeah, we don't need that. We're not going to do this anymore. But we're going to do this thing we really want to do instead. It's going to bring in more of this energy, which is gentle but fierce and very, very strong and stable. So we will see tonight when I do the Patreon 3-card draw. We will see what else it has to say. Sometimes it comes with some warning labels. Sometimes it comes with more advice. Sometimes I just look at it and go cross-eyed because honestly, most of my readings this year have been, So that's what I have. Thank you so much. A reminder, I do have some appointments open towards the end of the month. So if you would like your own reading, I am available at dianarachel.com/booking. And if there are issues with that, send me a contact and we'll set something up. Stay magical, everyone, and have a wonderful day.